Boy, you gotta love America. This segment that I caught on MSNBC, excuse me, is a segment where you're gonna have a southern, a southern politician that's gonna defend Bernie Sanders, and you're gonna have another southern politician defending Hillary Clinton. The major difference is it's the black guy defending Hillary Clinton, and it's the white guy calling Hillary Clinton a racist. This is flipping incredible.
Joining us now here in Charleston, with a lot on the line, the Democratic candidates are Bernie Sanders supporter Dick Harpootlian, and former South Carolina Democratic chairman, and Hillary Clinton supporter Marlon Kimpson, who is a South Carolina state senator. Gentlemen, it's fantastic to see you both. Dick, you were just making an argument. I asked you how disappointed you were to see the South Carolina primary somewhat losing maybe a little bit of the energy around it, given what happened on Saturday night in Nevada. And you're like, no. So tell me why Nevada wasn't a big deal.
Well, because Hillary's 4 weeks ago 30 points up. She wins by 4. It closed the gap. Given another week, he would have beat her there. Here, it's going to be a lot closer here than you think. A lot closer.
How much closer?
Single digits.
Single digits?
Yep.
You're a man with a good track record in predicting South Carolina primaries on the Democratic side, if I recall correctly.
You recall correctly. I think it'll be single digits. I think what I'm seeing on the ground here from the Sanders camp reminds me of what Obama did here in 08. It's a hell of a ground game. They're knocking on doors. I've got 3 phone calls last night. I live in a neighborhood that's a swing neighborhood for Democrats. I've not had a door knock, not a phone call, not a mailer, not a door hanger, nothing from Hillary.
Well, I'm going to ask you whether the reason that they're not doing any of those things is that they know that where Dick's hat
You think I'm just texting out?
I'm not sure why you said anything about Dick.
I'm happy Dick isn't in Vegas, because he'd be a losing man betting like that. Every poll I've seen shows her with a sizable margin. But here's the real story. I was in churches, 3 churches, largely African-American congregations. I toured those churches along with New Orleans Mayor Mitch Landrieu and also Congressman Jim Clyburn. The people are excited, yes, excited, about going to vote for Hillary Clinton. The fact is that Hillary has been in this state through the most horrific tragedies that this state has ever witnessed, one being the shooting death of Walter Scott. She elevated the conversation of race and police profiling by a speech to the Urban League shortly thereafter. And also she attended the funeral of my slain colleague, Senator Clemente Pinckney, and she talked about gun reform.
Let me ask you this question. I'll get to Dick in a second. I'll give him a challenging question momentarily, but I'm going to give you one right now.
Yes.
I've been asking every African-American surrogate supporter of Secretary Clinton's that I can in this state on what substantive matter of policy is Hillary Clinton better for African-Americans than Bernie Sanders?
Well, if you remember, when her husband was president, she fought vigorously around the state using the First Lady position for early childhood education.
Right.
That is a critical issue in the state because we have a problem educating those in the corridor of shame.
But that's not specifically addressing a black issue. That's addressing an issue for everybody. So I'm still waiting.
And most importantly, Hillary Care, which now over 8 million African Americans in this country enjoy, 20 million enjoy the Affordable Care Act.
What kind of bullshit is Hillary Care? Hillary Care, my ass. Obamacare is basically Romney Care, which was created by the Heritage Foundation, which is a right-wing think tank. So unless Hillary all of a sudden became part of a right-wing think tank, Hillary Care had nothing to do with Obamacare. So this guy's sitting up here bullshitting everybody.
But Hillary Care eventually became the basis and the starting point for the Affordable Care Act.
Bullshit.
Those are two significant issues in our country.
Dick, let me ask you, I'm not going to let you rebut that, although I'm sure you will.
I'd love to.
Well, you do that, and then I'll ask you a tough question.
Okay, so I mean, this is and Marlon, I don't have to go back to the Clinton presidency to remember Hillary Clinton. I remember she and her husband here in 2008 stripping the bark off of our president Barack Obama, saying he was an amateur, wasn't ready, and it was downright racial politics. And Bill Clinton pushed back on that. There are many of us that remember that, and remember that when the going got tough, she got mean, and she got down, and she got racial, and I don't want anything to do with that. The second point on it's called Obamacare, not Hillary Care, because Barack Obama passed it, not Hillary, and she can point to no substantial policy or bill that she passed while she was in the Senate.
But Dick, let me ask you this. So I think every Clinton supporter would point out, Bernie Sanders, I think it's obviously been unfair to say Bernie Sanders wants to strip health care from people because he wants to go to single payer Medicare for all. But is it not the case that Hillary Clinton has a point when she makes the argument that getting more is going to be impossible, and that he is offering kind of a Santa Claus version of reality when he says, Obamacare is not enough, that we need to abandon Obamacare, that somehow it's deeply flawed, and we need to try to achieve this thing that was not achievable when Democrats had a majority in the Senate, and try to go for broke and get something that's not possible.
Well, it's not possible if you're taking $10 million from the pharma industry into your super PAC. I mean, if your perspective is bought and owned by the banks and the pharma companies, no. But if you're not taking a dime from them, you can go into the White House and you can take a position. Now, you may not get everything you want, but he's going to be hammering on that every day, and he's not going to have to listen to the lobbyists from the pharma companies on health care. And I got to tell you, that's what's persuaded me to go with Bernie, is he's not bought and paid for, like Hillary. And by the way, Trump using his own money, he's not bought and paid for either.
Let me ask you this question, bought and paid for. Hillary Clinton gave a lot of speeches, made a lot of money from Wall Street giving those speeches. She said the other night that she would look into releasing the transcripts of the speeches that she's given to big banks. Do you think she should do that?
Okay, now, one real quick thing, and I just came across it. Hillary said that she would release transcripts when everybody else does. I just came across a site that has all the transcripts for all of Bernie Sanders' paid speeches, and I posted it up on Twitter. Now, if I'm going to try to find it real quick, but I believe you can go to Bernie. Okay, you can find it under Bernie's BERNIES transcripts, TRANSCIPTS.com. That's where you can find all of the transcripts for all of Bernie Sanders' paid speeches. So now that we got that little tidbit out of the way, she should have no excuse in releasing her transcripts.
Well, that's obviously going to be her decision, but let me tell you.
It's going to be her decision.
Let me tell you that
it's going to be her decision.
Yeah,
it's going to be her decision.
That's
but
her
do you think
decision.
she should do that?
Well, I'm in favor of greater transparency.
Right.
Okay. But listen, this business about bought and paid for is really unfair. She represented the state of New York, and we're fooling ourselves to believe that busting up Wall Street is a substantive policy. We need our capital markets, and the issue is how we reform Wall Street. I am a civil litigation attorney who sues Wall Street companies every day in securities fraud cases. So I know about taking on the big companies for securities fraud. Her proposal, I think, is to open up the capital markets so African-American investment managers can manage some of that money. They've been traditionally left out of the process. She's been meeting with small and minority-owned businesses in Columbia, South Carolina, Kiki's Chicken and Waffles. She has a plan to generate and make the economy work for people who've been left out of the process. So when we talk about busting up Wall Street, we have to recognize that it can't stop there. We need a substantive agenda to reform Wall Street.
Dick, you don't disagree about the fact that if Bernie Sanders had won the Nevada caucuses, he he would be here all of this week for 5 days, for 7 days. He'd be here fighting for every single vote.
He was in Greenville last night. He's in Sumter today.
He's now in Massachusetts and Virginia. And he's going to be all over the Midwest this week. He's like basically not spending a lot of time in his state. Do you not think that the voters, Democrats in South Carolina, should say, hey, you know, Bernie Sanders kind of giving up on us? He's not spending any time here?
He was here last night in Greenville.
Not that much, but he's also all over the place the rest of this week.
Well, there's a big Super Tuesday primary coming up. He can't put all his eggs in one basket. But I will tell you this.
Right.
His ground game has knocked on over 1 million doors or made 1 million phone calls in the last 4 weeks. That's going to pay off.
I got to leave it there. I could talk to you guys all day. Thanks to Dick Harpootlian, Marlon Kimpson.
Yep, so it's on and cracking. And Bernie should have had these guys out here a long damn time ago. And as I had said earlier, he should have been on the talk radio shows with black media, and he should have been on the only black TV show that I'm aware of, TV News 1. But looks like he's still fighting out here. Now, I'm hoping that his supporter is correct, and he can get the South Carolina primary down into single digits. And if he can do that, I think he will stand a chance. But he's got to cut that margin down. I'd be happy 10-12. But if he can get it under 10, that would be great.